Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast of She Is More Than Existing. I was so excited that I was talking before we even really got started here. So here we are. We are in another podcast, and you're not just getting me today. You're fortunate enough to have my dearest soul sister, close to my heart friend, who is the other part of my heart and my brain, I believe. We have grown and evolved together in ways that is so outside of this world that it brings tears to my eyes. But I wanted to introduce you to the person who is always by my side and that you don't always see. And this is my dear friend, Lisa Richard. This is a podcast about keeping it real, being authentic and true to who we are beyond the titles, beyond the names, beyond the roles. This is our true stories. This is our journeys of ups and downs and realness that does take place in our lives. I do want to say who Lisa is in her work, though. I really want to bring this in because it is an important part of who she has become, which is such a beautiful journey. It's just like, I just get this little heart, little flutter when I speak of it. Lisa is the owner and the creator of Loving Energy Recharge. I call her the architect, builder of all things beautiful that you see in my work, that you see that comes out into the world, that is all things that I may have even struggled with in my life, trying to do all by myself, and then realizing asking is such a big thing. And she has become so much more in my life than just a person that you know. It's you never know why God puts people in your lives. And Lisa started out as a client at the hair salon and spa that myself and my mother owned for years, and she would come in and out with her daughters and her girls, and we knew each other through there, and it just exploded. And who would have known? But Lisa has shifted and changed her life from being very much in that world of structure um, an organization, and went from being uh, really living one life in a professional way to living another life in a spiritual professional way. And she's taken the journey. And I'm chuckling because I'm like, there's so much I could say, but there's so much I want Lisa to be able to say, and I want to be able to share this space with Lisa today. And just I want to start with a question for Lisa. And I just want, just who is Lisa and what is her why?
Wow. That is such a deep question. And I remember starting the More Than Existing program 4 years ago. And that was one of the first questions that we were ever asked was, who are you? And my honest answer at that time was, I have no idea who I am, but I can tell you who I'm not. And my journey kind of started from there. And, today when you ask me that question, like, who is Lisa? Well, Lisa is free and Lisa is excited about life and Lisa is passionate about the work that she does. And Lisa only chooses those things that fill up her heart. So it is very much a purpose driven life now, a messy life. From the girl that used to be so in control of having this illusion of perfectionism to now, man, I embrace my mistakes, and do I ever make a lot of them? And that's the beauty of just knowing the world's not going to crash when doing something wrong. So I'm in such a place now of just learning to be authentic, learning to be real, learning to just show up as the best version that I can. And some days, I mean, that version could be a little bit messy and maybe doesn't get too far because I'm feeling the world or I'm feeling different things in my own healing journey. And other times, it comes with leaps and bounds of excitement and passion and opportunities and the sharing of the teachings. And yeah, it's just a beautiful unfolding. And I feel that, I'm still discovering who Lisa is. She's still allowing herself to come forward. And I say allowing because, we have a tendency to force ourselves to be something or to pick up a title, to pick up an identity. And so much of that is the shadow aspects of, what do we feel everybody else expects us to be? And I'm so done with that old story. So now I'm allowing her to blossom. I'm allowing her to come to life. I'm allowing her to feel the extent of her emotions and ride those waves. And I think most importantly for me right now in this journey, for one of the first times ever, and I have a couple of tears because I've just realized this in the last little while, I'm allowing her to plant roots so deeply into the earth to say you belong here. And that's huge. That is really, really big in my world. Yeah.
That is huge. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing the little cheerleader. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, big moments, big moments. Just feeling safe and secure and, not trying to escape and leave or to be something else, but just knowing and remembering we all came designed to be successful. So just allowing that to naturally come forward.
And what happens when the lights go down? That's my newest thing is, who am I when the lights go down? What happens when the lights go down? What happens when we have no one around or nothing around and we're by ourselves? What happens in Lisa's world when the lights go down?
Yeah, you know what I'm feeling, because sometimes I get the feeling before I get the actual words, a softness. There's a real softness to Lisa when she's just allowed to be herself. I mean, half the time I may or may not comb my hair. It used to be a big deal and an effort to put the makeup on and get dressed for the world. So when the lights go down, I mean, the real Lisa just is. She's the girl that sits with her journal. She pulls the oracle card. She connects with spirit. She lets herself to just write, or she puts on the music and she sings. And I kind of chuckle when I say that because, I always thought I don't have a singing voice, but it doesn't matter anymore. I just allow myself to sing. I have words that come forward that are my own creation of the song vibration, but they're words that are speaking to me, through me, for me. And it's just this beautiful, magical dance and blending of, I want to say, my human and my soul, getting to know the truth of who I am. So when the lights go down and I have those beautiful opportunities to find sacred time for self, it's a blessing and it's a gift, and it is a must have in Lisa's world now. An absolute must have. It's like breathing the air. That sacred time to connect, that is absolute.
Because how many years did you spend, like, if you think about our years of preparing for social life, like, or work life, or stepping into our roles, how many years do you live so programmed to having to get up and get your face on, get ready, like, I got to get dressed, I got to do all this before I can even, so before you could even breathe into you had to put the mask and roll, like, get your hair done, get ready for work, get right, get dressed, plan out. How many times do you even plan the outfit the night before? This is, I got it, so I gotta, so timed and so regulated and so controlled. And
Yeah.
to, right from that to this, right from that to freedom of thinking. I mean, that was always a common thing. Was, I'd say sometimes I never really ever comb. I don't look at the back of my head. I don't comb the back of my head. Right? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the back of there looks like. Who cares? Why does it matter so much to somebody who's pointing out that of us? Right? Like, why do we feel like we have to be prepared for the world that's looking in at us and criticizing or saying, "Oh, did you comb your hair today?" And why are we justifying it? Right? Like there's, but we are so programmed to that world, and then to leave that world and to know that we get to have the choice to choose.
Yes. Huge transformation, and I feel like I've lost probably a good 10 years of my life being in that rat race in that program. And, I started out being a mother at a young age. I met my husband when I was 16 years old. I got married at 18. I had my first child at 18. We were super, super young. I went back into finishing my business degree. I had 3 girls by the age of 23, which is absolutely crazy when I think about it now. But there was such a period of my life where, I was busy being the mom, trying to identify with that role. And because I was a young mom, it was this pressure of, well, everybody's judging me. Now, those were stories of my own creation, but we create a role or how we want to perceive by society. So we make ourselves, push through the exhaustion, or tolerate things that we necessarily wouldn't tolerate because we're trying to uphold this image. So I spent a couple years, having the beautiful opportunity to raise my kids as a full-time mom, taking in extra children, running a day home, doing whatever I could to support that world. And then when they hit the ages of going back to school, well, then I was going back to finish my education. I was jumping into a full-time job. So I had this beautiful experience where life really taught me the power of how to step into those roles of, maintaining a career, maintaining a family, maintaining a relationship, maintaining all this stuff, and finding a courage from within that, quite frankly, I don't know where it came from. But it also feels like I sleepwalked through a lot of that journey because I was just in the program mode of I've got to go. I have to do this. I have to do that. So yeah, I would literally, pick out my outfits for the week. I would pick out the meals for the week. I would thaw the stuff the night before. I was so proud of my ability to organize and control my life to the extent that I could fulfill all of these to-dos that I felt I needed to get accomplished in a day. And I was very, very successful at it to the point of, there was a period of time I was working 3 full-time jobs, paid 1 salary, but just because of short staffing and whatever else was going in there and my willingness to jump in and my desire to prove that Lisa could do it, that open heart in human design, how can I prove it? How can I do more? I fell into that. And there was such a beauty in my journey, and everything that I've learned, I can use today as skills. But looking back, it makes me tired. It makes me tired just to look back and say, my goodness, that girl tried so hard and sacrificed so much and came with such love, but she forgot about herself, completely forgot about herself.
Right. And in More Than Existing, Lisa mentioned her human design, and we have to bring it in. It's a conversation that we have that is a huge part of even More Than Existing, because it was an introduction to human design that really opened my eyes to the fact that you are so much more. And I mean, the first words I got the first 2 statements I heard in in human design had been you are the goddess mother. You are here to be that goddess mother. And the other one was stop talking to people who don't want to listen. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, that frustration, right? And it was like, stop talking to people who don't want to listen. And so that began the journey of, I need to know more about who and what I am, between human design and your natal charts and all of these other little tools that we find. And of course, then creating More Than Existing, I discovered this essence of truth about myself that I actually didn't know who I was, right? It's like you were so programmed, we're so conditioned. And that life that you were just talking about is just existing. And it's not a wrong life. It's not a not successful life. It's just not our full truth. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that frustration that I would have, like, why is nobody listening? From the time I was a kid, I'm talking to parents who don't want to listen to me because they don't see a channel, right? They didn't see a channel in wisdom. They seen a little girl, right? Whereas you were sometimes maybe looking at a little girl, an 18, 19-year-old, and seeing a woman, but she was still in her teen years living a woman's life.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, that alone, and having the power and the courage to do that, I mean, that speaks of such great success. So human design really truly opened probably up for you the ability to see where that came from, to be that woman, to be that young girl who had the virtues to do that, right? The courage, the strength to be able to do that, and where you could see that flowing through, right? Like in the human design. When we look at human design, we see our centers, and there's a lot to explain. It's a whole conversation itself. But when you now look back at that beginning, 18, 19, and you look and compare to your human design, what do you see? What do you notice?
It's funny. And I imagine there's some of the audience members that are going to relate to this, but my whole journey into human design, and I was so grateful because the More Than Existing coaching program that I was a part of it in the early stages, and that's still in involvement now, for those that want to walk that journey, that was the first time that I ever stepped into something and said, okay, I am committing to me. I'm committing to this program. I'm going to invest into myself. And my first thought was, how are you going to afford to do that? It did come at a cost. I said, well, I don't need to watch TV. I don't need to go to the store and buy all those little coffees and things that I used to do. I really need to make that honest investment into my own growth, my own awareness. And I had this feeling inside of me of there's got to be more to life. And I had another desire in the same time that was like, I'm here to break the cycles. I'm here to break the patterns. I don't want to keep carrying all of this energy forward from, what felt like years and years of family, generational hurt, pain, stories of just hiding things underneath the rug. Right? That's not me. There's so much more to this world. So in that beautiful program, the More Than Existing Journey, when you brought in the human design component and we had an opportunity to learn, well, here again was Lisa pegged as a minority group. Having 5 categories in human design, I fell in one of the minority categories. And my thought to that was, why am I always so different? What is wrong with me? So my desire was not out of a curiosity to get to know myself. I was on a mission to find out why was I broken. So I dived into it. I dived in really, really deep, and I got my certification in there in less than a year. Literally manifesting. I'm a manifestor in human design, how to get that education. But my drive and my push was I was looking to fix what I thought was broken. They explained my aura type as it's closed and repelling. And I took that all personally as, that's me. I'm closed off. I don't let anybody in. I can't resonate with anybody. That was really I'm going to call it a bullshit story, right? A manifestation in the mind. But it was also an awareness of energetically how much I could feel. And through that journey, the More Than Existing, the human design, all the work in the Academy of Higher Consciousness, the learning that is still ongoing. It is literally like going on this archaeological dig, and I'm just slowly brushing off these layers. I'm brushing off these false illusions. And in human design, I have what's called an incarnation cross of separation. My old self again would go, oh, well, here I am again, separated from everybody else. I'm off on my own little journey. But the wisdom that I've learned and the truth, diving deep enough to get behind the reasons is it's an ability to separate from the emotional energy. It's an ability to stand back and see a bigger picture. So in that beautiful journey, what I learned in getting to know myself was reminding myself that, hey, you know what? I came into this world designed to be successful, as each and every one of us did with our unique designs. And beyond that, it was like, hey, my soul self chose me, chose this human in its shape and in its size and its intelligence and, everything that I thought was a fault. No. That soul chose this person, just like your soul chose you. So we're never a mistake. We're never an accident. We're never broken. And it's become this beautiful journey now of remembering my truths, which also means I am so far from perfect. Human design will bring out our flaws. I'm wired for sensitivity. I'm wired to take criticism really, really personally. So I had to learn how that affected my body, how it affected my mental patterns, how I could get beyond that to be like, all right, Lisa, you are literally in an earth that's the size of a marble floating up in space. It is not all about you. So it's been absolutely wonderful. And I look at my daughters. I have 3 girls. The youngest just turned 22 this year. At that age, I was pregnant with my 3rd child. I look at my daughters, they don't have children of their own yet. They're in their own careers, their own journey. They're fierce women that are living their truth, but also making their mistakes. So as a parent, I can now separate from that and I can appreciate them and I can love them and I can know that they have to walk through some of their own fires because that is learning. And I'm not trying to jump in anymore and fix them. I'm not trying to save them because, again, they're not broken. They chose their life experiences. And as they are going through some of their own challenging times and have come out the other side and are growing together as women and as individuals, I'm seeing a strength that just fills my heart. And I'm also getting the reflection back from them saying, you know what, Mom, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you from stepping away from this mainstream career, from giving up this big salary, from giving up a title to follow the calling of my heart. You know, I've been so blessed in that journey of just allowing things to naturally unfold.
And, and I just remember this, like Lisa would always have this way of saying of saying I'm different or I don't belong. Like she'd come in and she'd be like, well, I'm different from you all, or and finally I just said to her, you know, being me and myself and I'm just like, stop saying that. I said, you make yourself separate from people because you literally are telling the people that you're better than them. You're right, like, and not in a way of you're better, but you're just like you're different than them. You're more. I'm not with you. So it's like the hands that go up and push us out, and we
Mhm.
all have that little. We all have that little. That little weapon, that little sword that does that. That says, "Get back, get back, get back." Right? We all have that we do somehow, and we don't realize it, and we don't realize how it comes out in our conversations, and then we wonder why people are pushing back because we just drove them away.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we just pushed away the opportunity for people to love us, to like us, to be a part of our world, whatever it may be, and to also then be able to use discernment to where we want to be because we've already created that narrative, that story that this is where I'm going to be, this is how I'm going to live, this is right. And I don't belong, I don't belong, I don't belong. And that was a huge part that in all of what we've done, in all of the tools, all of the work, more than existing, the academy, everything was knowing the power of our own will.
Yeah.
How that's our own free will doing that. The places where we're placed, like being placed in more than existing, creating more than existing, bringing in human design, bringing in all of those things into it, that's all God will. And God will is still, even though we're kicking and screaming sometimes, it's God will putting us together as even soul sisters and friends, God's will over, over our own will. And so there is that comes in. My thing was, if they're too nice, get away. If they're too nice, get away. And Lisa was one of those too nice people for me.
Mm.
And I for so long pushed that away because I seen her and her perfect family. We had kids that danced together. We had, I would be the one going to dance with just me, myself, and my daughter, and that Lisa would be there with the supportive husband and the three kids, and you tell yourself the narrative of what you think people are living, right? You create the image of their life, and then it was like, well, and she's just too nice, she's too sweet, I'm not that kind of person, I can't be friends with someone like her, right? Like, and they you would tell yourself those stories, but they become the mirror reflection of ourselves in a way. So when you look back at your life now and look at where you were, and you look at how we push away love and friendship and light, what comes up for you when you think of that, right? Like,
Oh my goodness. You know, I had such a closed heart, such a closed heart. And you know, in my healing journey, I learned how to do the emotion code, you know, for those of you that are familiar with that. And I had to go get my own treatments done to open up my heart walls and to open up my heart in general. And, you know, I look back at all the times, you know, starting from childhood of being shy. Well, I wasn't shy. That was a label put on me because I didn't know how to express myself. You know, so that's where the I am different story came from. So, you know, I was so good at creating my own world and my own illusions of what I thought to be true. And I really, you know, had to reflect back on that to kind of question the whys of it all. And I see the little girl back in school, you know, being shy. So she's not talking to anybody. She's got to play up this character to this story. You know, somebody's coming over, walking my way, wanting to say hi or wanting me to play. And I'm head down. I'm turning away. So my body language, everything about that individual is screaming, go away, you know, and taking that into the workplace, you know, with the illusion of I'm going to bury myself into my work. I'm too busy to go for the coffee breaks. I'm too busy to go and socialize. That is not allowed to be that way. Someone would give me a compliment. Oh, I'd make up an excuse. Everything about my energy was so closed off to receiving love. And then it dawned on me one day, through all of your teachings and all the work that had been done, I sat with that for a while and I said, I am such a giver. I love nothing more than to jump in and help somebody, save the day, so to speak. But it's just a feel good feeling. And it came into my awareness that when I'm not allowing that from somebody else, when I'm not taking a compliment and saying thank you, when I'm not accepting someone's help and the grace of their time, I'm literally energetically looking at them and saying, fuck off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I would never, ever want to do that and hurt somebody that way. But here's my energy doing that. So when that came up into my awareness, I was, I need to start opening up this heart. I need to start allowing other people into my life. I need to start trusting. I need to make the time for the friendship and not the excuses of, well, someone's going to betray me. Someone's going to do this. I got to stop judging people and circumstances and creating stories of what I believe is going to happen when it hasn't even unfolded yet. So I've called myself out in a really, really big way, and I have grown leaps and bounds in my heart's capacity now to really allow myself to feel. And it has been a very uncomfortable journey. It's not easy when you first start, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and trusting again. But man, the opportunities and the magnetic alignment to getting back more experiences and more individuals that support that growth and that way of being, and I had to remove myself away from those that were gossiping and negative, and not the people, but because I would hold on to that energy. So I started to change the dialogue in my own mind. I created a 40-day affirmation program, but that was for me. It was to start rewiring how I would talk to my own heart, how I would close off my own heart. And I even caught myself in my healing journey purposely bashing my heart, condemning my heart, because then I could literally feel it squeezing in. I could get the visions of what appeared to be the angels coming down to rescue me. So I had this dialogue of, the only way I can connect, the only way I can be rescued, the only way I can be saved is to punish myself and to hurt myself. And it was such a false illusion, because what I saw that appeared to be coming down to get me was actually me falling away from the light in a big way.
Denying ourselves, right? And it's like we don't realize, as not just women, as everyone, that we don't realize how much we deny ourselves the opportunity to live a life of love and in the light. Like we don't understand it, for one thing. That's the big thing. It's like, even when you hear it, or you go to a yoga class, or you go to a meditation, and you're sitting there in a circle and you're like, love and light to all, and hurrah, hooray, and you're there in the moment. And I would say, anyone could put the shirt on and wear the shirt, but can you dive deep enough to admit to yourself what you don't know? Admit to yourself what you don't understand and what you don't know about yourself. Because if we had it figured out, we wouldn't be on repeat in these cycles, right? And so there's this denial. So when you look in at your life and you see it, like how much we deny ourselves the opportunity to live at peace, to live in contentment, to live without so many of the things that we've created as a necessity to have. Like, we're here to suffer, and we're here to, you're here to wait for the savior to come in. You're here to wait for someone to create the moment, the opportunity. But we deny and ourselves the opportunity to be that creator, to be that person, or to sit in the light, or to go deep enough to discover. And so that sense of self, right? When we look at denial, and you look at how much we have denied ourselves the opportunity to just live freaking beautiful lives. Like, how freaking how freaking hard is it really? But it's not really that hard, but it's become so complicated because we've been conditioned to the complications, the fear, right?
Yeah. I've had to eat a lot of crow, and I've had to go to my husband many times and say, I am so sorry. Because looking back, and especially during the times of us being young parents and, the many, many years, and my husband and I have been married 26 years now. We have a beautiful relation. I have been so blessed, with his open heart. And he's actually been the reflection of unconditional love for me. I was the one pushing it away. And I look back to, raising the kids, and I had this illusion of, well, I'm the mom. I got to take care of all the housework. I got to take care of the kids. I got to do the homework. And whenever the poor man would want to jump in and help, I would freak out. I would freak out to the extent of, well, that's not the right way to do it. Or I would appreciate the help, but then I would go and I would change it and I would do it my way, or I would criticize. I was really hard on the poor man. And then hard on myself because I denied any aspect of help. And then I would complain that I'm not getting any help. I would sit with the women complaining about relationships and complaining about all the faults. I had nothing to complain about except for my own willingness to let go of the control, which I now identify that at that time in my life, it was my safety net. So my husband and I have had these beautiful conversations, and I've had to sit there and I've had to say, you know what, I haven't been overly nice. I have been quite critical, or, I have energetically not honored you the way that I should. And those humbling moments, letting down the defensiveness and letting him openly share how it made him feel, and not trying to defend myself, but to say, thank you. Thank you for having the courage to express that so we can heal it. We can bring it to the light. We can sit in the knowing that, we did the best that we could at the times with what we learned, but now we know so much better. And our kids are grown now, so it's just the two of us, and our relationship is getting deeper and deeper and better because of allowing the vulnerabilities to surface and pulling back the rug and airing out some of that stagnant energy that's been there for so long. And it does go both ways, because he's also had, things that he has held that he needed to approach, that I could say, hey, wait a minute. I'm not your mother. I'm not the same person. I'm not, I'm to be identified as me. So with that energy always goes in two ways. And in a marriage, any relationship, whether you're in the workplace or in your family or with a spouse, being willing to admit your mistakes and take full ownership of what you've done, and asking for that forgiveness, asking for that love, that is such a powerful healing moment. And it's like that fresh start of, that's in the light now. I'm aware of my behavioral patterns. I'm aware of my tendencies. I'm aware of my triggers. I'm aware of that not self child, my tantrum that likes to jump in when, I'm feeling like some other needs not being met. So now that I'm aware of it, and this is the more than existing journey that we've been taught, now that I'm aware of it, now I can choose to do better. And because of the healing journey, because of the tools that you have gifted us through More Than Existing, through all the teachings of the Academy, I got this whole tool belt of stuff that I can quickly grab something. So I'm prepared. I'm prepared to be this better version of myself, a true version of myself, which means feeling intensely and having to ride the storm, but I'm not so reactive anymore. Now I'm taking that deep breath, and I'm coming from a place of responding and asking, what is this teaching me? What is the grace that I can learn, and how can I empower myself and the other as this is unfolding, as life is unfolding, because life is messy and we can't control what's happening out there, but we can control how we respond to the energy. And to bring that peace, to bring that love, to bring that deep-rooted stability of, we're designed to be successful. So whatever that storm is, there's going to be another side to that storm. There's going to be another side to this moment. So how do I personally want to show up on that other side? And sometimes I fall down and I get picked up again. And other times I'm standing and I'm, a mess, but I'm standing and I celebrate. I celebrate that. I celebrate the girl that got up from the ground to try again. I celebrate the girl that came out scraped and bruised and in tears. And I celebrate the moments of the woman that has held strong, because they're all equal. They're all equally deserving of that love and that respect.
Mercy, mercy, mercy.
Oh.
Right? Mercy, 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 mercy. Like, just show yourself the mercy, right? And that's huge. Mercy, mercy is shown in grace, is when you surrender into whatever is happening and not running from it, not avoiding it, not saying it's not happening. I remember in More Than Existing, I think it would have been level 1 or whatever, when we're teaching it, I'm like, for all of you that ask someone, whether it's your partner, whether it's your children, to fold the towels or put the dishes in the dishwasher, and then you rearrange them and do them again, that's selfish and unkind of you.
Yeah.
That is cruel, because they were trying to do something and you instantly told them that that's not right, that's wrong. Nobody can help you. So that's why people stop helping you.
Exactly.
People give up trying to help when you keep living in denial of accepting love and light into your life. And so no matter what people do for you, it's never right or it's never enough. And people have a tendency to want to try to fix your pain. They can't fix your pain. Never. They can never fix what you're going through, but but when they step into just being a support and holding space for you, sometimes they're offering to do things for you that you're denying. So then people walk away from your life, or they walk away from helping, or they walk away. And that's how relationships even end. Often that's how relationships end. That's why sometimes people go out and look elsewhere for somebody who's going to accept them as enough, right? And that's a common thread. And we don't want to have to face that in our own selves, that we can be our own problem or that we create those problems. And when we start to look at ourselves and when we choose to more than just exist, is that you recognize that. And I remember saying that time again, like, or if you want your, if you want your partner to be that of your best friend, then you are also denying yourself the opportunity for this part of the relationship as well to grow. If you want your best friend, you should have married your best friend and not the person that you were marrying for. And they're like, and I said, I give those statements in a way of saying, dissect that statement. Dissect that, see how many half-assed truths are in there, how many lies we tell ourselves that we accept, right? That's I like things done perfectly. No, perfection is fear, right? Perfection, OCD, is that we're afraid of letting the establishment crumble because there is a weak foundation underneath. So in that denial and denying yourself, so now that you have that openness and that acceptance that we're, for the most part, and perfected it, you look at your life now and you see that difference in how you even show up, or how the things you let go of, right? Like you said in the beginning, sometimes I don't even comb my hair. Like I let go. And when we let go, how we find ourselves getting into that flow, because people always don't understand what the flow means, but to get into that flow.
Yeah. And it's such an energetic feeling, and that I'm chuckling because I was that person that would clean the house spotless, a learned behavior, but it had to be spotless in case somebody dropped by. But the reality is nobody dropped by because I was always so busy cleaning that I never invited somebody to come enjoy the space.
Right.
So now, now we live in this beautiful place. We're on Vancouver Island, and it's a place where people do want to come. It's a beautiful place to visit. And I'm proud of the weeds in my flower bed, and my grass goes brown in the summertime because the sun's heating it up. And, I still have bathrooms from our company that needs to be cleaned. But yeah, I'll get to it when I need to get to it, because it's not the priority in my life. And then the people coming to see me aren't coming to see and judge my home. They're coming to spend time with myself, my husband, the island. Everybody's on vacation, which means that I'm also on vacation. So I don't have that to-do list anymore. I still try to create it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love sitting down and planning everything that I believe that I need to do in a day, but spirit guides me. And when I find myself doing the things that aren't on my list, that's when I know I am listening and I'm in the alignment. And it's just such this joy-filled experience of allowing whatever needs to unfold. And everything that is truly important on that list, well, it's already up here ingrained in the mind. And if it's truly important to the evolution of things that need to get done for the highest good, it naturally finds a way. And it's not forcing anymore. So my body's just like the flow to me is just like I feel like the wind, I feel like the feather. And when I'm not, that's my call to, okay, Lisa, chill out. Like literally go outside, go ground, go breathe, relax. Quit trying to hold up your world. Quit trying to hold up everybody else's world. Quit trying to be so important and let yourself just be small. Like,
Oh, that need to be important, right? And
oh,
we all have that need, like, and there's no one can say, "Oh, I don't really want to be important." Yeah, we all want to be, we all want to matter somewhere, right? And so that's where I would say that's where science and spirituality does meet, right? That we all want to burst from the seed, we all want to blossom into this flower, we all want to be something. But the comparison of being somebody, I just finished speaking of this, like being as kids when we barely had TV, right? Like back in my day, especially. I mean, we went from I was black and white TV to color TV to turn the dial to a remote control, and then you had records and you had cassettes, and you knew your world of success and being successful and looking into the eyes of people who were in your world. So my level of success was my grandmother as a kid. Like, that woman is like, that woman's amazing, like the things she loves us, and I just want to be a loving person. And that was the success and mattering, being a loving person. And then as we've evolved into such big worlds of being able to have a voice and be present, then we want to matter everywhere, right? Like the expansion of mattering has grown, and then we've added all that pressure onto ourselves to matter. Then we what we've done, then we start denying ourselves the opportunity to live the lives that we truly did really want, because we get so battered, so caught up in the mattering part of it. And when we start to realize we've always freaking mattered, we've mattered to God, we've mattered to the universe, we matter because we're placed here to matter, right? And so it's that whole spin, that whole evolution of traveling from being this to the black hole to out again into reformed, reformed, revisited, restored, rebirth, all of those things that we start to do again. If you look at society now, you're seeing society actually going back to retro looking toasters and fridges and outfits and clothes, because everything keeps cycling around, because it's in repeat, because there was actually something about those, about different times that we actually liked, or we loved, or we or we want to try again, or we want to experience it for ourselves. So when we look at want to matter, and we look at in the now of mattering, and being right here and mattering right here right now, and being important, can you see how important we really are? Like that level of success. And I say I never looked at myself as I retired. I'm like, I'm like, how come I never said I retired? Like, I totally retired from a job. Like, how come, and what am I trying to prove on this other side of retirement? I got to retire early. Now, not with the ideal life, but so to you, and I said to Lisa, you get to retire as well. We mattered enough to the universe that we got to retire early. And now we get to live. And so looking in and looking through this hourglass of our lives, I just seen days of our lives.
I just did too.
In the days of our lives,
Yeah.
in the days that you exist in the now and mattering,
Yeah.
is, do you really feel that difference of how much you really just matter to, well, to a lot of people, or to yourself, or to, to what you have successfully given to the world thus far.
Mm. Yeah, powerful, powerful question and powerful visual, just to see that hourglass and those little sands coming down. That truly is our life. Our journey is such precious moments of time, and we don't know when that time is going to run out. I mean, I've had lots of losses in my own journey, and every time that happens, you're shocked and you're surprised, and there's a part of your heart that just shatters.
Mhm.
But we forget to look at our own lives and our own days and our own moments and go, every single second is a blessing. And to connect with the I matter, it had to start with self first. And that was a big part of my journey, was allowing myself to matter to me, to treat myself with the same respect and dignity and kindness that I was giving so freely to everybody else. But I was forgetting to fill it back into my own cup. And I'm in such a beautiful place now where, I know it matters when I'm out walking and somebody smiles and I greet their smile and I say hello. And it matters in the grocery store when I'm noticing someone's having a bad day and I make a compliment. I acknowledge it. You bring that out. And we have so many opportunities to matter in what might feel like insignificant results, but those add up to be big moments in time. And not only do they fill up the other person, but when you're open to receiving back the smile, receiving back the look, receiving back the opportunity to be of service, well, now you've just mattered in the energetic vibration of creating more love and light in yourself, in the world, in your community. And it was really difficult, especially going through COVID, having some of those isolations and having to adapt in new ways. But there was also blessings in there to truly connect with what mattered. Well, being able to see people really matter, because I sure felt that disconnect. Being able to hug somebody was extremely important, because when that's taken away, so looking at all those things that kind of call you back out, when you no longer have the option or the choice, what truly matters to you and why does it matter to you? And then allowing yourself, I need to take the responsibility to bring more of that to the forefront. So if the hugs matter, the touch matters, the connection matters, are you making the effort to be the one to offer it first? Or are you holding yourself back, wanting something that your body is saying, I need to fill up my cup? Why not take the initiative? Why not have the invitation? Why not see if perhaps the other person needs their cup filled as well? Why not offer the handshake, offer the smile, offer the reassurance? Why not be the reflection of what you are wanting more of?
We're responsible for the kindness and compassion that we give to the world. We are responsible. We are responsible to be that, right? Like, and when we look at it, it's like, okay, I'm not responsible for the bullshit that of other people's, but I am definitely responsible for how I'm going to show up in this world, to be kind, to be compassionate, to be caring. And if I only have to be on a screen to do that and show the world in a video that look what I did today, look what I gave somebody today. No, that's bullshit. What you do when nobody's looking matters the most. And that's where it matters. And that's where it counts, right? And I always say, it's a lot of what Lisa did in my life is what she did in my life was done when nobody was looking. A lot of what she gave in kindness and compassion was a mirror reflection to the kindness and compassion that I needed to show myself, right? That I was giving out a lot, but same story back. I wasn't opening my heart. So Lisa really gave me, when nobody was looking, kindness and compassion in a way that sometimes came in as a kick my ass, but and I'm good at kicking ass, but it kind of stopped me in my track and just said, what you tried to drive away of somebody who was nice was the essence that you couldn't see that you do a lot of nice things in this world. And it's not what you do when people are looking, is what you do when nobody is looking. And it's then, and because it became such, um, I guess in some ways, sometimes unappreciated, right? Because people don't know how to appreciate people because of that closed offness, that you just kind of, then I built up a lot of frustrate, like a lot of tainted energy. I call it tainted energy, right? And I'm sure Lisa had some tainted energy with me along the way.
For sure.
But it truly is what we do when nobody is looking. And that's when we discover that how important we all are, that we all do matter as a society, as a world, and what we do in that. And so when we look back, when we look through this journey, and what do I have to give to the world? What do I have to give to the world? Is what I'm giving to the world enough? And when you look in at loving energy recharge, you look in at what you give through loving energy recharge. When you look in at what you give just by being Lisa, when you just look in at what you give by just being present, going to a grocery store, you know, what comes up for you?
Yeah, I'm smiling. I have a big smile, and I feel the heart opening, because when the name came to me, Loving Energy Recharge, it came in the essence as I was taking my name, Lisa Richard, and I was recreating it. I was allowing the truth to step into the forefront. And I didn't realize at that time, a few years back when it came into existence, the extent of what that meant. But the loving energy recharge was literally recharging the energy, learning to love myself so that I could offer that love out into the world, and coming with such a place of passion and drive, and no desire to fix anybody. People come to me for readings. I'm like, if you want to know, what's going to happen or what choice you should make, don't come to me, because I'm here to empower others, and I believe in others to such an extent. I have the ability to see the potential. I don't ever want to rob somebody of the potential of discovering that for themselves or discounting that in themselves. I'm not here to help somebody take the easy road and put on the Band-Aid. It's wired for the depth, and that is love. Love is the accountability and the celebration of individuals saying, yes, you have this dream, but you also have all of this. And what are you doing when nobody is looking? Well, you're looking. And then I could sense that as a child, and back then, being in religion and stuff is always, well, God is watching you, or Santa Claus is watching you, or something's watching you. But the truth and the awareness is, I'm watching me. I know what I've done. At the end of the day, I know how I've shown up. I know if I've put my heart into it. I know if I've given too much. So if I'm frustrated or I'm feeling like, oh, I'm never appreciated, well, guess what? I'm not appreciating me. So loving energy recharge, is that two-way flow. And I say we have to fill up twice as much as we give, because we have to fill up the human. We have to fill up the energy field, and it's that energy field that other people feel. That's what they're receiving. So learning to get that ego out, learning to have the soul self, the higher self, step into the forefront means never stepping into such sacred work with any kind of ego, with any kind of emotion, with any kind of desire to want to change anybody else. So it was a very sacred process for me, and such a gift and a blessing in the work that I was asked to do. And I chuckle because, I have conversations with spirit, and I'm like, for as much as I complain sometimes about having to do the work, that work was a gift and a blessing to help me get to the place that I needed to be, to implement it into my own life, and is now stepping forward into the other work that I'm doing. So there is nothing on my journey when I look back, and even all the trials and the hardships and the things that you would go, I would never wish that upon somebody else. But that all shaped me to be who I am today. So looking at that with love, the loving energy recharge of knowing, yes, I have a past. Yes, I have a future that is in creation. But the most important thing right now is this moment, this person, this feeling, this existence. So I've learned to stop always being in my head of worrying about stuff in the past, and worrying about what hasn't even happened yet, and just start appreciating, letting love really be the guiding force, the charging force. I say I'm a plant. I'm here to feel the sun, to soak in the sun, and allowing that quiet stillness to recharge the body, the mind, and the spirit before even stepping forward to try to do anything else in the world. Because that precious time of, making sure that you're showing up in the energetic relationship that you want others to feel matters. It truly, truly matters in that.
I'm laughing because I just seem so, I'm really listening to what Lisa's saying, and I'm like, and I'm in love. I'm like, I just like the
Aw.
proud mama moment. And I'm like, but I'm like, I see you. You just had the most craziest thing happening. As you're just talking about that experience, I just seen you in another lifetime.
Oh,
And
cool.
you're wearing like a farm, the jean coverall farmer pants with the straps and the bib.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, and you literally had one of those on, and you're like, and you had 2 little braids coming down,
Mhm.
and you were like straw hat, and I'm like, "Oh, this is like totally another time." And I could see you stand up, and you're holding up like carrots in one hand and something else in the other hand, and you're like standing there, but it was definitely from like pioneer days, right? Like something of the pioneer days. And I'm like, "Ah, Lisa, you are talking truly from your soul. Like this is truly from the soul." And that's the beautiful thing about who and where we are, is that we are living from the soul. Like the soul is your truth. And I'm like, that's a soul experience. I've never seen that on you. I'm like,
Aw.
it was so cool to experience that as you were talking, this was like pulsating out of you. Just, it was like a
Mhm.
pulsating energetic energy that was just coming off. And I'm like, I love when I see those. And I have the ability to see beyond, for anyone who's wondering and saying I don't see that on her, but but I see beyond, and I could see that pulsating on you. And that's a true, true truth of knowing that someone's really speaking truth.
Mm.
And Lisa speaks truth, and there's nothing like what you hear is totally authentic. And I always say, if it's bothering you, then it's something that is within you that is saying, that reflection is saying that you fear kindness, or or you're expressing an emotion, but there's so much more to that emotion. And there's a wheel that we use in More Than Existing. I don't know what level it's in, but it's a wheel that shows the emotions, right? And we have the major, because we express through words emotions. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm mad, but what are you really feeling?
Yeah.
What are you really feeling, right? What is the real truth beyond that? And so then there's 2 more wheels that expand beyond there. And so for days, it's like I was saying, I'm mad, I'm mad, I'm mad, I'm mad. I don't know what I'm not mad at anyone. I'm just mad. And I'm like, I'm jealous that of people who have a healthy body and I don't. Right? Like, and I'm not, and it's not a projection on anyone, is I'm jealous. Well, if I'm jealous, what is really happening within me? What's happening through me? And that was, discovering the parts about you that you're allowed to have those emotions, right? And you're allowed to have those emotions, but you're also here to stop denying yourself and allow yourself to receive the other end of those emotions. And that's where the healing comes in, and that's where we start to live and be our truth in such a way, and to express that truth and be that truth. And so Lisa, she is more than existing. So when she is more than existing, when she is, what is she is, who is she is, or what is she is? When you think of that statement, she is dot, dot, dot. What is that she is dot, dot, dot? What comes after for Lisa?
Oh. There's 2 words that are coming up at the same time. And I think, one is automatic. One wants to say she's flying, but then I have this little fun trying to creep in there, right? And then we had a conversation a couple of days ago, and I'm like, I see all this orange, but I can't touch it. And it was such an awareness in my own journey that I still need to allow for more fun. I'm still on this healing journey. I'm still evolving. I still have rules and regulations that I put upon myself that I'm like peeking out, going, but what if I just like, come out of this cage and I set the bird free and I just allow her to embrace more life and to let her hair down even more and to get even more messy and to just be that child. What if she gets to just have complete fun? Well, then she's truly going to be flying. Right now it's kind of like the little butterfly coming off the ground, and often quite often, she does get to go out there and experience this new sense of awareness, just by embracing the beauty of Mother Earth, noticing the plants, the animals. We're lucky we have the ocean here, we have the mountains here, the sunrises, the sunsets, so many things that are gifted to us freely. And it fills my heart. And that's my definition of fun is, going down and seeing, oh my goodness, look at all the people that have come out to watch the sunset. Like, how beautiful is that? Someone over there is playing guitar. Someone over there is taking their photos. Someone is out there kayaking. There's a little couple over there that are close in a relationship. That's fun. Not just my extension of fun, but being able to see that and witness it in others. And, I purposely will go to a park. I'll watch the kids in the sprinklers. I'll listen to the vibrational energy of just being themselves. And it doesn't matter if there's kids crying, I don't have to take care of them. Thank goodness it's not mine, but they're still authentic. So it's still, part of the fun for a child is, well, I'm going to play to the extreme, that I'm going to crash and be tired, I'm going to be thirsty, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. But it's real. It is so purely real. So that is the definition to me of a true fun and a true flight, is the realness of just allowing that to come forward. Not the holding back because, well, I'm not allowed. I got to get my work done. What will somebody say? Yeah. I could just feel my whole energy going blah, right? Like, no more. Life is to live. Days of our lives, sands of time. We're here for the journey, not to try to get to that destination because, you're going to miss so much along the way. So I'm here to savor it. I'm kind of like maple syrup, and I had a beautiful, another healer gift that to me at a trade show that I was doing, and just handed me this maple syrup. And I had to share the message to them of, yesterday in my awareness, it came to me that I'm here to savor the journey of life. And they're like, well, I don't know why I had to gift you maple syrup, but that makes sense. It makes pure sense. A little bit at a time, just savoring it, enjoying it. Too much of the experience is going to give you a bellyache. You can't have too much of that indulgence either. So sometimes the fun even comes in the quiet moments of literally laying in the sun, or enjoying that bath time, or just doing something for yourself, putting your hands in the earth, growing the flower. I love the overall picture because I'm like, yeah, because the Lisa is not afraid to get dirty. She's not afraid to do the work. And abundance comes in growing the carrots, growing whatever, the natural beauty of understanding that it starts with the seed, and it starts with nurturing, and it starts with care. And it starts with things allowing to blossom in their own time, and including self. That was part of my journey. Don't rush me because I'm here to savor it. I'm not ready yet. But then to allow it and to get to that place of, all right, I'm now ready to bring that out of the dirt. I'm ready to bring it out of the shadows. I'm ready to hold it up for the world to see. I'm ready to open up my heart and say, I'm here. I'm here. I don't know what is to come, but I've arrived. I feel like I'm at that place where I have arrived. More than existing.
I'm like, yay. And one last thing before we leave, let's end this out with what's one message that you can give to inspire another woman who, to be that support, to be that inspiration?
Love yourself. Be yourself. See yourself. Put yourself first. And that literally means, placing your heart on your hand, or your hand on your heart, heart on your hand, however you
Everyone put it.
Do that, bringing it to that forefront so that you're connecting with you, you're feeling you're reminding yourself that you matter. Yes, you have a lot of responsibilities, but you are a responsibility to yourself first. And Corrie teaches this in More Than Existing, that reference to the animals, where the mother lion has to feed and take care of herself first, or she will not have the strength to take care of the babies, and they will perish. And it's the same to us as parents, as individuals, men, women, it doesn't matter who you are. if you're not being honest to yourself about how you feel, about what you need, about treating yourself with the love and the respect that you want the world to show you, if that's not coming from within first, then you're not able to see it out there. So learning to flip things around. And I think that's why I said, the heart on the hand, because we just finished, going through my Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection, Corrie's second book. And that was the journey, seeing yourself inwards. You're not broken, you're whole. You have everything you need to be successful within you already. So don't look for it out there. Don't try so hard to prove yourself out there. Don't have the expectations of what it's going to look like, because it's going to appear like nothing you could even imagine. Feel it, grow it, nurture it, savor it, enjoy it, hold it. Don't give it all away. Hold it and feed it and love it for you. Because at the end of the day, you see yourself, you know yourself, you are the one that can pat yourself on the back. I've started to do that more and more for myself and say, what, I'm proud. I'm proud of what you have done today. And really try to find, those little nuggets, because for so many years, my mind would lay down at night and remember everything that I did wrong or everything that I still had to do. And I learned to change that story. So now I lay my head down the pillow at night and I purposely go through my days to find the beauty, to find the celebration, to find the moments, and they keep adding up and adding up and adding up and adding up. And it's going to sleep feeling peaceful, reminding oneself you're successful, you're whole, you accomplished an amazing lot.